Hi, I'm Jennifer Carter, and thank you for joining me on a podcast for parents, teachers, and administrators. Today's conversation should be a good one, and I'm sure it's something on your mind. So let's get to it. Thank you for joining me. This is Mrs. C, also known as Jennifer Carter. I am the CEO and Executive Director of Oak Tree Learning Centers. We have locations in San Bernardino and in Los Angeles. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that what we do is all hands-on. That means that the children have an opportunity to participate in all of the things that we do. And because this is the month of December, we have a holiday play that's coming up. They're making costumes, they're making sets, they're writing invitations, they're writing the play, they're doing everything. And so this is fully their production. And I wanted to talk to you in particular this time to say how we can extend those kinds of activities and that kind of participation at home. I know when my son Ian was a little one, we would have summers off together because at that point I was teaching in like a high school setting. And every school break, it would come and the two of us would sit and look at each other like, what are we going to do now? And so what ended up happening is we became co-collaborators in building our break time together, whether it was summer or winter, spring break, whenever we had time together, we would do that collaboratively. And so this episode is really my 5 tips for doing such a collaboration with your student at home. I had the advantage of having a master's degree in education at the time. So it was not hard for me to come up things that would be of meaning and of value and full of learning, but also that would keep a 4 or 3-year-old or even a 12-year-old occupied and interested. So we're just going to run through 5 quick things. This is a really short episode, but I hope that you'll find a lot of value in what I'm sharing. All right, so one of the things I'm going to suggest is that you do a lot of talking with your students and your children. First and foremost, we have to remember kids have ideas. And when they're sharing their ideas, sometimes they're going to seem outlandish. Why don't we go to Mars and sprinkle snow on everybody? Now, what I want you to remember is that when they make that suggestion, their imagination is really the conduit for making this happen. If your child says, let's go to Mars and we'll sprinkle snow so that Santa has a pathway to get to us, build a rocket ship together. You can build it out of different materials that you have around the house. There's kits that you can do online. You can even just draw those pictures and talk about what does our spaceship look like? What is in our spaceship? You draw the cockpit where the pilots are, and I'll draw where the passengers sit. Together, you can build your spaceship, whether it's 3D or if it's just flat. And then you can also make snow. The best way to make snow at home, believe it or not, is to simply cut paper. And children, small children using their fine motors, that's a perfect way to build up those muscles so that they can cut things and they can do the fine work that we need with our fingertips all of the time. So that's a perfect way to build snow. So you've drawn rockets and then you've built snow, and believe it or not, you can pretend that you're in Mars. I think you could even extend it with costumes filled with stuff around the house. So the first thing is you want to really talk and tap into imagination. The next thing is you have to have fun. And I know that's weird. As an adult, we are not given a lot of permission to just simply have fun and do silly things. Whenever you have a child, no matter what age your child is, that gives you kind of permission to go back to that age. And especially when you didn't have a fun childhood and when you didn't have great experiences, this is a chance for you to relive that. No one's going to think you're weird if you're like, oh, we built a rocket and we went to Mars. people will think that's adorable. You don't have to be self-conscious, because I know sometimes we can get so serious that we're like, oh no, I can't, I can't run around, I can't play, I can't, I'm too old, I'll break something. Be sure to pace yourself. I'm not trying to, get a bunch of emails about people with pulled hamstrings and joints that are all out of socket because you overdid it. But you can move around, you can play, you can have fun. Winter break in Los Angeles and in San Bernardino is 3 weeks. That's a long time for anybody to sit down. So there's local parks. There's, in California, we have the beach, we have the mountains, we have mall. I love going to the mall during the holiday season. And when Ian was little, because my older boy came to us much, much later. So when Ian was little, we would sit and we would go to the mall and we would people watch. And he would describe the people and he would talk about what they were wearing. He would talk about what he's seeing. Guess what that is? That's vocabulary. If we're out and walking, guess what we're doing? We're moving our bodies. We never bought anything. Well, that's not true. We always bought one pretzel and one lemonade, and we would sit and we would watch people and tell stories about where they were going and what they were wearing and what they were doing. So you have to have fun as well. If that's not your jam, I get it. Not everybody wants to sit in a mall eating a pretzel and talking about strangers. Some people like to even do Instagram posts, and maybe people like to do social media dances on TikTok or whatever it is. Make sure that you have fun when you're doing this. The next thing is be frugal. There's no reason in the world to spend a lot of money. 3 weeks of constantly going out and doing things and spending money can really, really add up. And right now, we're recording this in November of 2025. Our economy is not in a place where there's an abundance. There's not necessarily a ton of money for people to spend. Most of the things that I'm sharing today will be things that are free or low cost. I'm not encouraging people to spend a lot of money, especially with the holiday season coming up. Sharing gifts can also be an expression of how you spend your time, and instilling that value in your children that when they spend time, they're also spending something of great, great value. I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of time. And so when we sit down, sometimes we will make our own wrapping paper. Yes, we will make our own wrapping paper. We open up grocery bags, we cut them so that they're flat, we draw pictures on the outside, and then we wrap our gifts in them. Sometimes we make our gifts. How cool would it be if you spent a few days each week making a scene, a holiday scene, where first you build the bottom, and then you use old cardboard or old boxes to make it look like gingerbread houses, and then you outline it with glue and with white paint and put decorations. And that's something that, again, the only cost of that is your glue, some glitter. I mean, is that it? Maybe some scissors. You don't have to spend a lot of money in order to make something really magnificent. And what a centerpiece. My mom, who died in 2019, held on to some of the things that I made in elementary school. And I did not go to elementary school recently, to say the least. And so if you build something like a centerpiece together out of found materials, that centerpiece is going to be in the center of your holiday table for years to come. And every time you pull it out, there's a bit of pride. Even when your kids get in that, oh man, mom, you're still using that phase. Underneath there's going to be some pride. There's going to be some excitement and some happiness about you thinking that this thing is of such value that it literally takes center stage every holiday season. So I encourage you to be frugal by recycling, by reusing, by repurposing things. Use the tools and the resources that you have at hand. There's Pinterest and just plain old Chat GPT and Google, where you can find great ideas.
If you like what you heard, or even if you have some feedback, put a comment in our comment section. Be sure to like our page and make sure that you subscribe so that you can hear when the next video comes out. Thanks so much again for joining us.